Just like traditional learning in person, a parent's role impacts a student's success. But how do parents adjust to the new normal of online learning? Just ahead, I'll tell you how some working parents figure out how to juggle remote learning and full-time jobs.
Insane California gas prices and its effect on commuters. Update News starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Danny White.
And I'm Darwin Seki-Lion. Just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday, gas prices are at an all-time high in California. Some parts of the state are topping $6 a gallon for regular, and the skyrocketing prices are hitting students hard. At an average of $5 a gallon, gas prices have a direct effect on the population of San Jose State. With many people commuting as far away as Santa Cruz, these prices definitely have an effect of how people choose to get to school.
You know, next semester I may start taking like light rail a little bit more. This semester I didn't just because of COVID.
But with in-person classes reinstated this semester, they have fewer choices. Many pay the price to drive to school.
My commute, it doesn't really change that. I mean, I still have to get here. I still gotta go to class, but there is a lot less driving around for maybe going out to eat or errands or just driving around for fun, I guess.
For now, most are having to pay the piper.
Actually, I filled up gas this morning. I didn't fill up a full tank because of the prices. I have to commute to Mount Pleasant High School, where that's where I do my student teaching. So I have to drive there, and then for classes at State, I have to drive here as well.
Experts say the prices at the pump will eventually come down, but that's little consolation for students right now.
Back to school for K through 12 students is finally in person, but some students remain in virtual learning environment. Their parents are trying to help them keep their social skills, but it's hard. Denise Billones talks to both parents and teachers.
Those parents were overwhelmingly concerned their children would fall behind both socially and educationally because of remote learning, so they are finding workarounds.
Nearly 2 years into the pandemic, virtual learning is still a reality for some kids. From the beginning, some parents worried that their kids wouldn't handle the abrupt change from an in-person learning environment to a remote one. Their kids would miss out on so many activities.
My thoughts on remote learning, I feel as if my children have become more distracted when they have taken on remote learning because they feel as if they have more freedom to fiddle around with their cellular devices while their cameras are off. Their teachers too weren't technically picky about their students turning their video cameras on, so this was a huge concern.
Annie Flowney's child is still taking classes remotely. She says it's a struggle to balance her family life, her responsibilities to her job, and stay involved with her child's online learning. But she's trying.
We created a social channels not just to earn, but simply let him practice talking, relaying information responsibly, inspiring others, and showcasing his talent. Enrolling him to different trainings, like he will get a chance to converse with different nations. Also workshop where he'll improve spiritually.
Teachers note that parental involvement seems to help.
As a parent, I know that sometimes they are distracted, but with parental guidance, they can easily focus on and go back to their track. As a teacher, I know that students can be easily distracted with other computer programs. But if you let them feel that they can be trusted, they will do their assigned tasks and they will not fiddle with their gadgets when their cameras are turned off.
And when it comes to older students, some say they don't see a downside to online learning.
Our teachers usually let us turn our cameras during class, so it's still the same as in-person classes. It's not really a big problem with me because remote learning is just like your usual conversation with people when you text them.
One more thing parents worried about is the lack of peer learning opportunities. It's one more reason those parents are eager to get their kids back in a classroom.
Parents fear that young students will lose their social interaction with their peers. It's harder to do that with remote learning, so those parents are looking for other ways to help their children socialize. In San Jose, Denise Villanes, Update News.
Our record-setting storm from October has led to an early season jump in rainfall averages around the Bay Area. This is great news for our ongoing drought, especially in the North Bay, where rainfall since October 1st more than 10 inches above average through mid-November. The Central Bay and East Bay are about 4 to 6 inches of rain ahead of average. However, you may note how San Jose is just slightly 1 inch above average as rain totals have been lower across the South Bay with our storms so far this season. Regional reservoirs in the North Bay's Marin Water District saw a more than 20% boost in capacity. However, the South Bay's Valley Water District reservoirs have been most unchanged since the start of the rain season.
Fast food workers across the state are asking the public to help them get better wages and better working conditions. They want you, their customers, to push to get a new law passed. They're taking to the streets to get your attention. Sandow has the story.
Those workers are asking you to reach out to your state lawmakers to urge them to pass the legislation, California Assembly Bill 257. Saying they are fed up with wages and working conditions, fast food workers across California walked off the job for a single-day protest last week. At this worker strike in Campbell, organizers tried to make their case.
There have been a number of health and safety issues that fast food workers have raised over the course of the pandemic that have gone unheard by Burger King, by McDonald's, and by other major fast food corporations.
Now they want you to push for a new law that would help them.
We finally have an opportunity to bring a voice for workers, even an opportunity to bring a voice to franchise owners against the corporation.
We've reached out for a response to the allegations from some fast food outlets, but we're still waiting for a response. Meanwhile, the proposed legislation has had a rocky road. It failed to pass in June, but it has one more chance.
It is still obviously a contentious bill and has not yet passed.
The workers are counting on public support from their allies to step up and influence lawmakers.
This is a real question of whether or not there are enough, whether or not enough politicians are courageous enough to stand with workers and instead of standing with greedy corporations.
The clock is ticking. That bill comes back up for vote in January. In San Jose, Sandow, Update News.
And when we come back,
how an ex-con is helping others rehabilitate back into society.
And coming up next, a look into how student journalists balance their education and their career. I spent some time with our colleagues at the Spartan Daily, a skeleton crew of student journalists who put out the SJSU newspaper every day. How do they juggle it all? Does the term student journalist really apply? Here's what I learned.
There are hundreds of student-run newsrooms like the Spartan Daily around the country where young journalists are learning their craft. But unlike their professional counterparts, they do so while juggling their other schoolwork.
The fact that it's happening against the fact that everybody has a job, everybody has something else going on, is a pretty amazing thing.
Richard Craig has been the advisor for the Daily for nearly 20 years, helping young journalists cut their teeth in the business.
We prepare our students to behave just like professionals, and sometimes they make mistakes, but professionals make mistakes too. The key thing is that you learn from them, that you move on.
The Spartan Daily became a staple of the San Jose State University journalism program in 1934,
an 87-year history starting out as the State College Times and then evolving into the newspaper we know today. And what the students learn is that the news goes on, and they have to find a way to cover it, just like their professional counterparts.
And it's not so much learning how to do it, but doing it and learning through the results.
Learning and growing by doing. Over the past year, that process has been complicated because of the pandemic. They spent the last 3 semesters in a virtual newsroom, but are now glad to be back working and learning in person. That's especially true for Madeline Medina, whose first semester on the Daily was purely through Zoom.
Reporting virtually, learning how to be an actual journalist in the virtual space definitely was a little bit different than now, because now we have the ability to see people in person, be in the newsroom all together.
Despite the limitations of the pandemic, congratulations are in order. The Spartan Daily team recently won multiple awards for the newspaper at the collegiate level.
After more than 2 decades behind bars, a Sacramento man has turned his life around and is helping others do the same. Jared Liu has the story.
Grateful for a second chance, Jose Gonzalez Jr. is making the most of it, not just staying on the straight and narrow himself, but helping others steer clear of trouble too.
To be out here again, be given a second chance at life.
Jose Gonzalez Jr. is taking advantage of that second chance to turn his life around and help others do the same. 7 days a week, you will find him on the job. He is thrilled to be working because he spent more than 2 decades in prison. He got out after a 2018 law that reduced the sentences for somebody who was involved in a drive-by shooting but didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, we make mistakes in life, but people change and grow and rehabilitate, and they become new people.
Now, he's helping to rehab others who find themselves on the wrong side of the law and trying to keep young people from going down the wrong road.
We went to the prison and I was like, yeah, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. It's not what I want. He impacted my life a lot. So yeah, I look at things differently.
What about the conversation we had this morning on the way to work?
I was just talking about it.
Jose's sister is one of his biggest supporters. She never lost faith in him.
Yeah, he's doing it. A lot of people that knew him, before he went in, they're like, he has totally changed a whole 360. I mean, even his dress code, everything, haircut, everything. And I'm just like, wow, things happen for a reason. And, and if you really want to change, you can change.
And Jose has this advice for others.
Just be aware of the choices you made, because one wrong choice can land you in prison for a long time. So yeah, the choices that we make in life, and appreciate what you have, family, your life, because it can be gone in one wrong choice.
One of the groups he is working with is an organization in Sacramento called Self-Awareness and Recovery. I'm Jared Liu, Update News.
And now Juan Zuniga with the weather.
Good afternoon, I'm Juan Zuniga with Update News. And here's your forecast for the next 5 days. And we're going to expect some rain through Thursday and Friday with low totals expected. Clearly and breezy, dry weekend ahead, and more clouds on Monday, raining, staying upward. And let's check out the extended outlook for the weekend. Once we look at the upper Bay Area with 0.31 inches of rain for Grenville, and 0.22 for Bodega Bay, and 0.13 for Santa Rosa. And as you can see, the rain is moving towards the central Bay Area, and for the weekend, it starts to clear up some skies. And then later on Monday, we are going to see some clouds moving toward the central Bay Area. And let's wrap it up with a forecast for Santa Cruz, with the highs of 62, 65, and 69, and with the lows of constant 54 and 56 for Sunday with mostly sunny conditions. And let's go next with Oakland, with Friday starts with the highs of 61, 65, and 66, and the lows of 52, 47 constant with mostly sunny conditions. And let's go next with San Francisco, with Friday with the highs of 60, 63, and 66, and the lows of 55 constant and 57. Keep in mind on Friday with the rainy conditions. And let's wrap it up with San Jose's forecast with the highs of 66, 68 constant, and the lows of 52, 55, and 63 for the lows, and with mostly sunny conditions. And that'll be all for your forecast. I'm Juan Zuniga, Update News, and go Spartans.
And when we come back, ASL, or Adaptive Surf League, how a group of dedicated individuals will stop at nothing to get in the ocean. Right after this.
And when we come back, we'll have a rundown for this week's sports. Stick with us.
At San Jose State University,
we discover who we want to be. For ourselves,
for our families,
for our communities.
Different and unexpected.
Begin here.
At the heart of a transforming valley, in a city that is tough and beautiful.
We are Spartans.
What powers us changes our world.
For some, surfing is life. And for these dedicated athletes, nothing will get in the way of them catching the next big wave. Paddling out and catching a wave is hard for even the average person. But these disabled surfers make it look like a breeze.
I've just been in the ocean ever since I was a little kid. And the ocean's always been a part of my life.
Claudio Morales has been surfing his whole life, but when a car accident rendered him immobile, Morales didn't know if he would ever be able to surf again, let alone walk.
My dream was always to get back into the ocean and to, I wasn't sure if I was going to walk again, but I knew for sure I was going to surf again.
Being a quadriplegic presented many obstacles for Morales in his journey to get back into the water. But with the help of his friends and a specialized board, he fulfilled his dreams of surfing again.
So my support team is composed of maybe 15 guys all together.
For people like Morales who don't have use of their arms or legs, need special help in the water. These people are called pushers.
I specifically work in the adaptive surfing community. I work in a certain category that's called prone assist. So the rider rides in the prone position, which means laying down, and I get to assist them getting onto the waves and through the waves. And once they're on the wave, it's all their show, they run it.
Joe Jackson has been helping wounded veterans surf again since 2008.
A friend of mine had said, hey, I got someone that you need to work with. He wants to get back into surfing.
And since then, Jackson and his partner have been traveling to different adaptive surf contests in the U.S. as the sport starts to grow.
Adaptive surfing is growing right now. It's growing out of its adaptive surfing and going into almost what's called parasurfing pretty soon. That's because of the Paralympic implications into it.
While the sport tries to get into the Paralympics, it's easy to see how inspiring these surfers are.
I think it's impossible to be around them and not be inspired. I think that the more you work with everybody, the more you kind of get to know them as people, and you kind of get to know how truly inspiring what they're doing is.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about adaptive surfing competitions is that they showcase something that impresses a lot of people, right?
And it's truly impressive to see these people overcome so much and then decide to charge a 15-foot wave.
If adaptive surfing can show the world one thing, is that we are all capable of whatever our souls call for.
Morales is just one of the many adaptive surfers hoping to qualify for the Paralympics team if the sport does get picked up.
If you're looking for a way to give back this year, there's a new toy drive that's just got underway. Businesses in San Jose, Japantown just launched a Christmas toy drive. The goal is to get enough toys for more than 200 families in need this holiday season. You can donate money, drop off a toy at a handful of locations, or shop from an Amazon wish list. The organizers say they want a way to give back this year. The pandemic will leave so many families without enough money to get their kids toys.
So, this year we'll do kind of the standard route of toys, but maybe next year we'll go towards providing whole gifts for the entire family.
The deadline for families to apply for toys is December 8th, and if you're willing to help, you can donate toys at Zonki's Toys or State of Grace Tattoo in San Jose, Japantown. And here's what happened last week in sports.
The men's soccer team lost in the quarterfinals of the Western Athletic Conference Tournament in Round 1 against Utah Valley 4-3. They then lost against Grand Canyon University in the semifinals 4-1, ending their fantastic season. Women's basketball started 1-2 from 3 matchups last weekend, with their one win coming against Eastern Washington, 77-67. Junior guard Ellen Ogier leads the team with 37 points in the first 3 games. Men's basketball began their season with a buzzer beater win off the hand of senior guard Trey Smith for a 78-76 win against CSU Fullerton. It was first-year SJSU head coach Tim Mouse's 400th career win. Women's volleyball punched their ticket into the Mountain West tournament with a win over Boise State 3-1. They have 2 more games until the tournament begins on November 24th. The football team fell to the Utah State Aggies 48-17, falling to 5-6 now on the season. The Spartans have 1 more game to win and become bowl eligible against a tough Fresno State team on Thanksgiving. Ranked number 8 in the final national poll, the Spartans will take on the number 5th seed Pepperdine in the first round of the Golden Coast Conference Championship in Irvine.
And now a look at the week ahead. Come to the Green Office Workshop. Learn tips on how to make your workspace and life more environmentally friendly. This virtual event is on Friday, November 19th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m.
Get in the flow and unwind at De-Stress Yoga. This event is being held at Tower Lawn on Friday, November 19th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m.
And speaking of relaxing, Thanksgiving break has arrived. Classes will not be in session from November 23rd to November 25th. Enjoy your holiday time off, Spartans. And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thank you for joining us and see you later.